Alright, so this is Ableton Audio Effects Explained Part 2. Last week I covered Part 1, which was reverb, utilities and compression. So I'm going to be covering a few more in this video. As you might be aware though, there are quite a few audio effects, so Part 3 will be coming soon. If you like music production videos, want to improve your skills, this is the channel for you. Please subscribe and like, and yeah, let's jump into it with glue compression. Alright, so for this example, I've got the glue compressor on my percussion group, and here's a before and after. So the aim with the glue compressor is to make everything sound more cohesive. Think of all the percussion instruments on their own, and then putting the glue compressor on the percussion group brings them all together, tames the peaks, and brings the volume up of the lowest elements. Alright, so on our glue compressor we got the attack. This is how quickly maximum compression is reached, and you've also got the release. This is in seconds, and this is how quickly the compression stops. Also has an automatic release. When this is applied, glue compression releases more gently. With the attack for this one, I'm going to have a higher attack just so I don't kill the transients. Next up we got the ratio. This is how much compression is applied. If I give you an example of having the ratio at 2, for every 2 dB over the threshold, the output is reduced to 1 dB. And with the makeup gain, obviously we're going to lose volume with the compression, so this brings everything back up. So play with it to suit your taste. Also we got the dry wet. This is where you can mix in the dry signal and the compressed signal. And then also you got the range, which you can set to your taste, but this is how much compression the glue compressor can achieve. Alright, so next up we have the delay. For this example I'm going to use a vocal. So this is the vocal without any delay.
I've been trying to hide 'cause I'm scared.
And this is the vocal with delay.
I've been trying to hide 'cause I'm scared.
Just like the reverb which you saw in part 1, I'll link it up above if you haven't seen it. You want to put the delay on a return track. That way the delay will happen after the vocal is finished, and it sounds a lot nicer. It sounds less intense as well. So in the bottom left of the delay you'll see the feedback. The higher this is, the more the delay will repeat itself.
I've been trying to hide 'cause I'm scared. I've been trying to hide 'cause I'm scared.
We've also got the dry wet. If you've got it on the channel itself, you might want this to be a bit lower, but if you've got it on a return track, you want it to be higher. One of my favourite things about the delay is the ping pong delay. This will bounce the delay from ear to ear.
I've been trying to hide 'cause I'm scared.
And if you sprinkle this into your track from time to time, it is a really cool effect. And it's a nice bit of ear candy for the listener. So in the middle here, we've also got the filter, so you can filter out your delay. So play around with that and you can get some pretty nice effects out of it too.
I've been trying to hide 'cause I'm scared.
So on the right here we have repitch, fade and jump, which are different behaviours of how you want the delay to work when the delay time is changed. Personally, I think jump and repitch sound a bit too erratic, but with fade you can create some nice vocal effects.
I'm scared.
Alright, so next up is one of my favourite audio effects, which is auto pan, and you can create a lot of nice movement, and I use it a lot on vocals, not all the time but from time to time just to mix things up. So with the auto pan you can pan it from ear to ear, but you can also do some nice volume automation with it too. So you can see the phase control. Having it at 180 means that the LFO is going to be out of phase, so they go from ear to ear.
Da, da.
But if you have it at 0 or all the way to 360,
Da, da.
so it'll sound like the volume's going up and down. And if you want to mix it up from your usual panning, it is a good way to go. So with the rate, if you got it in hertz, it won't be synced to the song tempo. If you do click on the note head button, it will be synced to the tempo of the track, but then you can use this offset button to move it off the grid slightly. You've also got different LFO waveforms to choose from, which makes the auto pan sound a bit different, but also a random button as well, just to mix things up. Alright, so next up we have the Saturator, which adds distortion and harmonics to a sound. So if I turn the drive up here, you can see in the EQ8 that it's adding some frequencies in the mid-range. And if you click on the drop down, you can choose different types of distortion. If I go down to the wave shaper, you can add drive, you can reshape the sound and see what sounds good for the sound that you have. You can play around with the filters, DC and color. If you click on color and play around with the bass, if you turn it down, you can add harmonics to the lower frequencies, and if you turn it up, you'll add harmonics to the higher frequencies. And if you're adding a lot of drive to your sound, it will get quite loud, so you can play around with the output just to bring the levels down, and you can also use the soft clip as well, just so the volume doesn't go higher than it needs to. Alright, so with the chorus, this basically duplicates your original sound and it adds some delay as well. The rate and the amount works similarly to similar things we've looked at in this video. Obviously the higher they are, the more intense the chorus is, and with the feedback as well, this is how much output is fed back into the input. So yeah, obviously you can hear a lot of feedback there, so I'm going to turn it down to probably about 50%. So with the warmth, this just adds a little bit of distortion. You can also play around with the stereo width. 0% is mono and 100% is stereo. Play around with the dry wet. Obviously the higher it is, the more of the wet signal you're going to get. So classic mode thickens the sound with delay, but Ensemble uses 3 delayed signals, and this sounds pretty good on a vocal. Makes it sound like more than one person is singing, and I think it sounds pretty good if you bring it into your vocal from time to time. And then also you got vibrato mode, which uses pitch variation. It can be used for a build-up, good way to build tension. But obviously it can be quite erratic, so you just want to play with it and see what works for you. So there you have it with part 2. Part 3 will be coming very soon, and if you want to watch part 1, I'll link that just here so you can watch that too. And have a great week making bangers. See you very soon for another video.